guys? I hope you guys are well. You guys are doing okay. I have a very quick word. This is going to resonate with a group of people, but it's going to specifically resonate with someone who may have been questioning or who may have already received the confirmation from God, right? Like they may be seeing this person in their dream or seeing this person in their vision, etc. So this is just additional confirmation for you, okay? The Lord is separating the wheats from the tares. Okay, He is separating the wheats from the tares. Let me tell you something. You know, the tares are around the wheats, right? And sometimes it's very hard to tell the difference because it's mixed with the wheats. But then God will come in and then he'll start to separate the wheat from the tare. And once God separates the wheat from the tare, then it's obvious, what's the tare versus what's the wheat, right? And we know that to be believers and then false believers, right? In the book of Galatians, Paul talks about false believers spying on the children of God who have freedom through Christ. So the false believers are basically monitoring. They monitor the children of God who are the true believers, right? And that is what the Lord showed me in the spirit last night pertaining to someone, although the Lord is in the season removing the weeds from the tares, right? The Lord highlighted to someone that there was somebody around them or there was somebody at their church, somebody who was a false believer, right? Who is monitoring the believer. So, whoever you are that already had this confirmation given to you by God, and you are just waiting for additional confirmation, then this is your additional confirmation. Again, whether He showed you via dream or vision, but I was able to see the face of the person who is the false believer. And this person portrays himself to be a believer, okay? Now, this person, when I saw her face in the spirit, she was really angry and it looked as if she was watching you. So I don't know if she was watching you in person or watching you on the phone or watching you on the computer or watching you from a distance, but she was definitely monitoring you. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you the analogy the Lord gave me pertaining to this. That's going to help a lot of other people. Okay. When, you are a wheat, you have a light, a very bright light. And that's because you are a true believer and the Holy Spirit is dwelling within you, right? Now, when you go around the tares, right, that light is so bright, it exposes them, okay? And you don't have to say anything to them to expose them. You don't have to do anything to them to expose them, right? However, because they feel exposed, because listen, like I tell you guys all the time, a real person cannot be in a room full of fakes because the real person will expose the fakes without trying to. People will just observe and they will know who is real from who is not just by observing the person's character, who the person is, etc. And truth always comes out anyways, right? So it's the same situation when you are a wheat around tares. You have this bright light. And remember something, because the Holy Spirit dwells in you, the Holy Spirit is going to convict those who are tares. The Holy Spirit is going to convict the false believers, right? Because the false believers, most of them know they're false believers because they know what they're doing behind closed doors. They know their motives. They know their evil ways. They know their hearts. For someone to claim to be a believer but will be monitoring you, slandering you, being jealous and envious of you and hating you and not feeling any way about operating this way, that means that the Holy Spirit is not dwelling in them. Because if the Holy Spirit is dwelling in someone who is doing this, they will feel instant conviction. They will feel instant conviction. Those who have the Holy Spirit dwelling in them can't get away with anything. Okay, if you think badly about someone, God gonna check you. Before the night's over, he is gonna check you. If your heart is feeling some type of way towards someone, God is gonna check you. 24 hours will not go past without you feeling that conviction. He is gonna deal with you, right? Because the Holy Spirit can't dwell in a house that is unclean. You get it? So a false believer will feel good or okay with the things that they are doing. They will have a wicked heart, an evil heart. They will be talking bad about someone. They'll be slandering someone. They'll be monitoring someone, doing witchcraft on someone. They will even be, speaking in tongues, but the whole time it's not really tongues, it's demonic tongues, and they're cursing the person the whole time. And they will feel no ways about it because the Holy Spirit's not dwelling in them. Right? The Holy Spirit's dwelling in the believer, which is the wheat. So when the wheat is around the tares, that's where the conviction is coming from. It's not coming from within them because there's something wrong. It's coming from the Holy Spirit within the wheat that is convicting them. And then the tare will start to get aggressive with you, whether it be verbally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? They will get aggressive with you. They will start doing things to try to get rid of you because now you cannot be around them because everything that you're saying or everything that you're doing or your light and just in general, it's exposing them. So now they got to figure out how to get rid of you. And this is why I wrote about this in my book as well about the decoys in the churches. This is why a lot of children of God, they end up getting shunned from a church that is filled with a lot of witches and warlocks, or this is why they get picked on by people who claim to be believers, because when you are a wheat and God starts to separate you, right? The tares will witness the separation, as in the tares realize, wait, I'm not blending in with the wheat. And then they're reminded in that moment that they're really not a wheat, they're actually a tare. And again, when you are around tares, you remind them they're tares without you having to say anything or do anything. They just, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know their heart, right? So the Lord showed me this woman, and she's a false believer, and she was looking really angry, and she yeah, she was looking very angry and very annoyed, and she was monitoring a believer. She was spying on a believer, right? So I just want to give you this confirmation. I don't know who this is for, but whenever God separates the wheats from the tares, this is bound to happen. I always tell people, you know it's always good to take breaks from relationships. And I'm not talking about like a marriage. You can't take a break from your wife or your husband if you're married to them. Or your children if you live with them or whatever. I'm talking about like when you have any type of association with anyone or relationships with anyone, it's always good to kind of just step back and go into the period of isolation and just get into the presence of God. And whenever you do that, that is when you start to analyze the relationships that are around you. For instance, you may have a friend that's around you and everything may be going right with this person. Like you don't see any red flags, nothing like that, right? And your judgment about them is not fogged in that moment because you didn't see anything spiritually about them, and then physically you're not seeing any red flags. But 6 months later, literally, if you go into a period of isolation and just spend time with God and remove yourself from people and just focus on God, he'll start to show you things. He'll start to analyze people, places, scenarios, things that are around you, and he'll start to let you know like, okay, what's going on in each area, right? Um so it's always good to take breaks, because you never know what you're missing, or you never know what has changed or what has shifted throughout that period, right? God was showing me like this particular woman, and she was just really angry. Like, I don't know how she was looking at you, as in like if it was through phone, electronic, or in person, but you can tell that she was not happy as she was looking at you. She had so much hatred in her heart. And to be honest, it looked very like witchy. You know, it looked very witchy. So if you guys, you notice that like you don't bother people, but you're noticing that you always get some sort of like attacks from certain people, and some of these people claim to be believers. And it's because when God separates the wheat from the tare, it becomes obvious, right? And it's almost like you start calling them out without you having to call them out. It's just your light. It's just when you operate through the fruits of the Spirit, it's like you being the representation of the Holy Spirit. It exposes who they truly are, right? So the best thing to do in this situation, I know God has already confirmed it to you, whoever's listening to this, and for many people who are learning from this, the best thing to really do is, you know, just analyze your relationships, and don't let it affect you. Don't let it affect you. Don't let it slow you down. You know what I mean? Like some people, that's what they want. And some people, it's like they secretly in their heart are hoping that you're doing bad, or they're secretly doing things to try to make you do bad, whether it be witchcraft, whether it be slander. And when they realize that the slander didn't work, the witchcraft didn't work, the demonic chants didn't work, and they start monitoring you to see if anything has shifted in your life, and they realize that you're still blessed, you still have the Holy Spirit dwelling in you, they'll get frustrated. And that's how it looked. Like it looked like that woman was not happy to see that you're alive, healthy, breathing. Like it just looks really horrible, you know? So don't let it bother you. Just understand that it is normal when that happens, and it's a normal part of the process. It's a normal part of the process. Again, when God separates the wheat from the tare, you have to understand that the tare are not going to be happy that God has separated you from them, because it exposes them. Do you get it? So, and people are not stupid. People will see the difference, right? So you can't let it affect you. And I feel like that person is just trying to intimidate you, but in all actual reality, they're intimidated by you, but they're trying to intimidate you, okay? The way how this woman was looking, you can tell like she was checking to see if something shifted in you, if something changed in you, as in like checking to see if the spell worked, or checking to see if you're falling down, or checking to see if the Holy Spirit's still dwelling in you. It's like she was monitoring to see if you were still doing good, right? So yeah, like listen, God is doing something in this season, and he separated you for a reason. Hey, that rhymes, right? So just continue to operate through the fruits of the Spirit. Continue to be humble, continue to be gracious, continue to be kind, continue to be loving, okay? And just know that this is definitely our normal part of the process. I'm pretty sure so many of you guys have experienced a situation where, you know, the biggest bullies that you've ever had to deal with were from fellow believers, people that claim to be believers, but they were not truly believers, right? And again, it's because when the Lord separates the wheat from the tare, it's obvious. It becomes obvious. And some people want to believe they're a wheat, and some people will really believe that they're a wheat, even with the type of heart they have, no conviction, no remorse, no accountability. They will believe they are a wheat. But the truth of the matter is, a wheat is always held accountable, and a wheat is always convicted, right? But some people truly want to believe that they are a wheat, and they will trick themselves into thinking that they are a wheat. When an actual wheat comes around them, they realize they're actually a tare. Do you get it? And then they start to hate you for that, and you did nothing to them. Nothing to them. And they get upset at you because God picked you, because God called you, because you are a wheat. Although it's not your fault, they will resent you for it. Although it's not your fault, They will slander you for it. Although it's not your fault, they will hate you for it, right? And they will do everything in their power to try to get rid of you. Similar to how the Pharisees were bothered by Jesus. And they did everything in their power to get rid of him, right? That is a perfect example of a wheat versus a tare. Okay? So this is very normal, but I'm here to give you the confirmation that yes, there was someone that was monitoring who claimed to be a believer, and they were monitoring you, and the monitoring was not from a good place. The monitoring was because they wanted to see if you were doing bad, and they saw that you were doing good. And the face that I saw, this person was really angry. Okay? So, again, this is very normal, guys. It's a part of the walk. It's a part of the separation period. Don't be surprised if, people start poking at you, and it's the people that claim to love God that are poking at you. Okay? God has to separate the two, the weeds from the tares. Just believe when the separation happens, there's always going to be some sort of chaos, some sort of slander, something that happens, right? Because in their separation, there's some sort of exposure, as in, one's own heart, one's own ways, one's own motives becomes exposed to them when God separates the weeds from the tares. Okay? So anyways, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.